it is time for my Persephone. So we had Crossroads, which was just a nostalgic musical trip that I did not expect. Tegan Early, your voice is like, look, firmly in my range, but I can't rip at that timbre, and I'm forever jealous of anybody who can belt like that because I never really learned how to belt. So yeah, mind blown basically by Crossroads. But now we are into the next two songs, which are My Persephone and There Is No Name. And I look at that and go, I know, Casper, you had said you tried to kind of show the Persephone story from different angles. So I'm assuming one will be, again, Hades and Persephone potentially as like the love story, maybe a story of coming into one's power, given Crossroads, and another will be maybe more of the Demeter-centric part, maybe more of the she was kidnapped, this is tragic, you know, there's nothing happy about this. The thing is, I look at the titles My Persephone and There Is No Name, and I literally don't know which one is which. Because My Persephone, I go, well, that could either be Hades saying, this is my Persephone, you know, like, this will be my queen, or it could be Demeter saying, my Persephone, she's been taken. There is no name. I don't know what it could refer to, although it is really interesting. You will often see it said that people tried to avoid saying the name Hades, or sometimes even the name Persephone or Kore, because you didn't want to attract the attention of chthonic deities, because death. I mean, yes, even though Hades is not the god of death, he's just the king of the underworld. Chthonic deities, you usually didn't want to grab their attention. So, or could it be something else? Like, I don't know, which is, again, part of the fun I've been having with this volume is I have absolutely no knowledge, and I've been delightfully surprised by all the different musical choices and by how much thought clearly went into the project and how, like, there's all these little nerdy Easter eggs for me to love and get at. But anyway, let's just get into it. Let's go. Let's hear My Persephone. Okay, piano. Last time we heard piano was really with Hades stuff.
Maiden, bring me the light that my underworld cannot fathom. Be my dream and drowning souls. Haven't have you changed the rules, and now you're mine.
Okay, so this will be the Hades side of the story. Maiden, bring me the light that my underworld cannot fathom. We've talked about how there is no sun in the underworld. Helios does not hang out down there. Again, his big threat in the Odyssey to Zeus is, I will take the sun where it don't shine. I will take it to the underworld and I won't come back. So it is said to be quite dark. Be my dream in drowning souls. Half and half, you change the roles. That half and half, I'm assuming this is referring to the deal that gets made, where upon Persephone's taking down to the underworld, it is said that, you know, Demeter gets really mad and starts basically punishing the earth and humanity for what has happened, until you get to the point where Zeus kind of can't ignore it any longer, and he says, fine, go get Persephone back. Unfortunately, Persephone at that point has eaten some of the food of the underworld. It said she has eaten some pieces of a pomegranate. And so it's like, well, that's a problem. She's eaten some of the food of the underworld. She's now forever linked with it. Like, she is a chthonic deity at this point. What do you want us to do? So they make a deal that she spends X number of months in the underworld and X number of months on Earth, and it's related to the number of pomegranate seeds that she's eaten. So I'm assuming half and half, you change the roles. That could either be referring to that, where she is both a chthonic goddess, but at the same time she's also kind of a harvest and a spring goddess. So she has this double role. She's one of the very few gods who has such a dichotomous double role, where she's looking at two completely different things, really opposites in that regard. Or is it half and half, you change the roles? Does it have to do with being king and queen of the underworld, where he now has a queen at his side? And understand that Persephone is extremely powerful as queen of the underworld. She has a lot of authority down there. And given that, again, there are not that many myths associated with Hades or Persephone. This is kind of their big central one. But given she gets instilled as queen of the underworld and nobody ever threatens her place, and Hades doesn't ever really leave the underworld, so it's not like he's doing much else. Maybe.
I ask of you, be true.
Be true. Don't basically step out on me. Which, yeah, it's sort of interesting when you look at the three male Cronades and their queens, if you will. In that, Persephone pretty much is always linked with Hades. Hera is essentially always linked with Zeus, and she obviously takes great umbrage with the fact that he constantly steps out and does whatever he wants. And he has numerous, essentially, wives and concubines. Hades really only has the one. Poseidon, his queen Amphitrite, I mean, Poseidon goes off and has many relationships, but it seems that Amphitrite doesn't care. People always say that, like, oh, Hades and Persephone have the most, like, healthy marriage of them. I'm like, arguably, I think it might be Poseidon and Amphitrite. Because, yeah, Poseidon goes off and has all of these other relationships, but Amphitrite does not seem to care. I think in that way, you could, what do they call that? Ethically not monogamous or whatever. It's like, I think she knew completely what the deal was with Poseidon when she married him. And she's like, that's fine. Do whatever. As long as it's ensured I'm the queen and nobody's threatening this, I'm good. I don't care. Like, they seem to totally have a system that works for them. But it is important that idea be true. Like, again, we have to accept in this ancient mythology, this is coming from a society that was highly patriarchal and, you know, highly misogynistic. It was expected the women basically stay completely devoted to their husbands. Even the gods get an interesting kind of leeway to a degree. But, I mean, again, with Hades and Persephone, it does seem that, you know, Hades and Persephone, in terms of during their marriage, they're pretty much with each other.
Will you reflect me and who I am inside this fiery shell of chaos, bound by rivers and surfaces painted with sins of past? Tell me it never lasts. So
Ooh, that's an interesting set. Will you reflect me and who I am? I kind of like that line just because I think of the completely modern misconception that Hades is this villain and he's the god of death. And I'm like, no, that's Thanatos. And he's not a villain. I mean, again, Hades is so rarely involved in the mythology. He pretty much just does his shit in the underworld. And, like, if Zeus calls, he'll roll up. He is, again, so incredibly loyal to Zeus. If Zeus calls, you know, it's like, I need your help. You can't ask questions and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we taking? Like, he's the whose car are we taking? I'm there. I'm done. No questions asked. And the only favor he ever really asks is, I would like to marry Persephone. I'm going to ask you. You are her father. Can you make that happen? It's the only time Hades ever really does ask for something. And, you know, you have the modern misconception that he's this villain, all of this. Now, that comes from, once Christianity comes in, the association of the underworld with the idea of hell, and so many other things, you know, trickle-down effect and ripple out through history to create this misconception. We talked when I first listened to Epic, I talked about how there's the massive misconception that the sirens are basically mermaids, and I'm like, actually, they're bird-like, and how there's a whole long history of where that comes from and where the shift happens and where that mistaken idea comes from, where to the ancients, yeah, they didn't want to invoke Hades, because you don't want to attract the attention of the god of the underworld, because you don't want to think about that till you have to, basically. But otherwise, Hades was not some kind of dark villain. He's just God, king of the underworld. And the same even with Persephone. Yes, she had the role as the goddess of spring, but then also she is queen of the underworld. So you don't want to attract her attention if you don't have to. Inside this, okay, so it says inside this fury shell of chaos. Now, according to my libretto from Mary, it says fiery shell of chaos, which I'm assuming that's just a pronunciation quirk. Fiery shell of chaos bound by rivers and surfaces painted with the sins of the past. Okay, so bound by rivers, we talked about the 5 rivers of the underworld. Fiery shell of chaos. The underworld is never described as, like, fiery, as volcanic. I mean, yes, you have the Phlegeton, which is this river, the river of fire. It's kind of the only mention, really, of fire. Kind of the idea of volcanoes and all of that is mostly associated with, obviously, Hephaestus, whose Roman equivalent ends up being the god Vulcan. Volcano, volcanic. You see where it all comes from. Those were said to be like his forges and such. But surface is painted with the sins of the past. This is where mortals come to die. There is also Tartarus, which is down there, but Hades doesn't ever seem to really deal with Tartarus. Like he's not going down there to check on things. Tartarus manages itself pretty well. We know that a lot of the time you have the Araignées, also known as the Eumenides, who we might call the Furies, basically are down there in Tartarus. They're dealing with all of those souls and creatures who have deeply fucked up, with the exception of the Titans, who lost in the Titanomachia. Those are guarded by the Hundred Handers, very specifically, because you don't fuck with the Hundred Handers. Don't fuck with those guys. They are extremely powerful, but painted with the sins of the past means where mortals go to die. All of their as it gets called, the greatest consequence for any action a human can take is that you might die. So that is what he's surrounded by. Nobody really says the underworld is a joyful place, I guess we'll put it that way. And then they tell me it never lasts. Is that him talking about marriage, about love? Hera and Zeus, the love we could say they bear for each other, yeah, you could argue, like, they're not necessarily in a happy marriage, I guess you could say. But again, Poseidon and Amphitrite, they seem to get along perfectly fine. So I don't know. They say nevertheless. I'm assuming that means like love and this sort of connection. You feel the idea of like the honeymoon phase, it never lasts. And even just the idea of something being fleeting. Again, Hades is king of the underworld. He's king of a realm that shows that mortality is fleeting, yet the gods are completely unchanging. Utterly unchanging. They have no reason to change. They live forever. What's interesting is the way this is being sung and the way this has been composed. It's so almost plaintive. It feels very, not just nervous, but vulnerable almost. Like, I'm opening this world to you, and you could completely hate me for it. And then he'd be stuck with her as his queen, a woman who hates him. He sees that. Zeus and Hera, I would say, don't necessarily hate each other, but they certainly don't have the happiest of marriages. So I think he looks at it and goes, maybe I just fucked up and made a really big mistake. It's like, oh, so you're here, you're my wife. About that. I don't know. We shall see.
Will you be my Persephone, my Persephone? Ooh, King of Night, please don't forget, STYX can offer you reflections. Shadows still have arms to hold. Death is plenty to grow old. With starry-eyed as you may feel, I'll be your queen, not some ideal. For beauty shackled me above. Down here I'd like to build a love. Do you true?
Once again, fucking Tegan, your voice is insane. Insane. And there's so much in here. King of Night, please don't forget, STYX can offer you reflections. River Styx, most famous of the rivers of the underworld, I'd say. Shadows still have arms to hold. Basically, how do I say this? In a way, we could make an argument. If we talk, we're going to talk about a film analysis that I'm sure is a little controversial to some people, the idea of like the manic pixie dream girl. And she says, because especially where she says, I'll be your queen, not some ideal. You have this idea, that you are some terrible thing that can, like, no one will ever want it and what have you. You're very lost in your head, and that I'm some beauty that will save you. And she's like, I am not going to be some idea that you project upon me. I'm going to be your queen. I'm going to be an individual. I'm going to be myself. This is a lot of, again, if we look at the song Crossroads, where Persephone is basically trying to figure out, who the fuck even am I, basically? What is my future and my purpose? Do I have one? She's deciding a kind of self-determination here. And she's saying, I'm not going to let you project ideas onto me. I am an individual. I have my own mind. I will be your queen. You need to respect that. We are definitely taking a very specific route here. But I like that because the idea for beauty shackled me above. Again, to be beautiful and of a powerful family, we'll say, in the world of ancient Greece. Some women you know, there is a kind of idea that that could be chains to her. And again, also add the fact that her mom helicoptered mommed her like nobody's business. Again, many things are true all at once. The idea that she was beautiful, she could be forever at risk of, you know, being just taken away by somebody. People could only see her that she's like, don't just see me as this beautiful flower that got plucked. I am an individual. I'm a person. I have my own mind. I'm a god. I have my own mind. And again, saying that all of this is basically saying, okay, yeah, we can do that, but let's get a little reality in here right now. Like, you've clearly been hanging out down here with nobody to talk to, and you've gotten in your head a bit. And I think that describing Hades as starry-eyed, this kind of lost in his head type character, I think back to Shades, and I go, you know, that's kind of fitting. And given how you could make an argument that maybe how lonely an existence it is to be down there, part of why he would want a queen so badly, and also just have a queen. With humans, we know how isolation can make somebody go a little, ooh. I like that she's kind of calling him out in that way, but she's also saying, like, look, I will be your partner in this, but I'm your partner. We're drawing some boundaries here. We're drawing some lines, and I like that. And again, both of them would be aware. I mean, you can just think of the king and queen of the gods, Hera and Zeus. Look at it going, okay, let's try and have something better than that. Although again, I say look at Poseidon and Amphitrite. They seem to be doing perfectly fine.
See me.
Do you see me as I am?
You uplift me, you're one true queen. I too have storms inside this chaos bound by rivers and surfaces painted with sins of the past. Only you and I can truly make it last.
I love the strings that are coming in just in the back. It's very nice. It's, you know, creating the sound, making it even more round, more full. We started with the very plaintive piano. Okay, now we're adding some strings. The two of them together create something more full, create a more complete picture. Will you uplift me? You're one true queen. Like, look, you in this? Like, I want to be in this with you, but I'm not gonna be some trophy that's put on a shelf. I'm not gonna be, again, some little flower that you picked and I'm not gonna stand still and look pretty. Okay. I too have storms inside this chaos bound by rivers and surfaces painted with sins of the past. Only you and I can truly make it last. Yeah, basically, this is going to be work. And if you want to make it work, you got to do the work. I kind of like this. I like that this is a frank and honest conversation between the two of them. You know, in terms of doing Hades and Persephone as like the love story, the idea that they have a kind of honest conversation, and that Persephone sets basically the terms of engagement here. I actually really quite like that. And also not saying like this is instant love. She's just like, I understand this is also a position with power and I want that. As she would. She's a god. Who doesn't want power? I mean, they are powerful. Here's a place where she can use power.
Just keep me free, and I will be Persephone. Court turned Persephone.
Okay. Spring goddess turned chthonic goddess. Technically both. It's kind of hopeful chords. Oh, I love these chords.
So will you be mine? Persephone.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Okay. So I'm assuming the next one will be the Demeter song, which I'll be very curious about. Again, I like this as a frank and honest conversation. And the idea that, I mean, I think also of Crossroads, because we're just coming from that, where she says, well, history recorded me as a flower who just got picked. And she's basically saying, I don't want that. She's like, you want me to be your wife, to be your queen? Okay, I'm gonna be a queen. I'm not gonna be the trophy wife, basically. She goes, I'm going to expect you to treat me a certain way. Because otherwise this will suck and this won't work. I mean, can you imagine? I like that a lot. And also, I love the little nod, Core turned Persephone. The purely just beautiful, virginal, spring flower goddess who's, you know, been basically sheltered beyond belief by her mother, turned Persephone, this chthonic deity, queen of the underworld, ruling beside Hades, who's going to be, in a way, equally, we'll say air quotes, respected with a tinge of fear as Hades. You know, like, don't fucking cross this woman. Just like, don't fucking cross Hades. I mean, don't cross any of the gods, but have a healthy respect for the chthonic gods. I find that interesting. Oh, very short. I was wondering if there would be a kind of big swell at the end, but no, it's very gentle. And again, I was calling those chords at the end, those beautiful piano chords as they go up, almost hopeful, like tentative, these steps towards each other. This like, okay, this could be the start of something new. This could be the start of something great. Oh, that's so good. That was very lovely. It was very lovely.